Hey, welcome to the Rude Dog Show. I'm your gracious host, and of course, I am humbled. This is Rudy Reyes right here on the Rude Dog Show. I have kidnapped barnburner.ca for about 30 minutes here. Thank you for tuning in as a part of your holiday season. Of course, we're very shortly going to turn the corner into almost another year gone into Thanksgiving. I know all you shoppers out there looking for favorite items to buy. Well, for your favorite fan, you may want to hold back until after this interview. You may get some gift ideas when it's all said and done. And it couldn't get any better, of course. Wait for it. Thanksgiving without football, to some, is a cardinal sin. Even the Pope might tune in to watch tomorrow's games. You never know. He could be a fan of one of these NFL franchises to dawn, whether it be Fox or your flavor, CBS or NBC, rather. But you'll have three chances to watch. Once in the morning, afternoon, of course, late evening as you grab your second plate, and, of course, Grandma's fruitcake, a slice of that. Maybe you'll get some, but you'll see the Minnesota Vikings at 8-2, the Detroit Lions at 6-4, the 4-6 Los Angeles Chargers facing off against the underdog. Yes, I said underdog, Dallas Cowboys at home. And, of course, you'll want to settle in for a New York Football Giants. Maybe it will be a football game. I don't know, but they'll take on the 4-6 Washington Redskins tomorrow. I think this could be probably the most competitive or least competitive game of the day. We'll just have to wait and see. This is Rudy Reyes on the Rude Dog Show. Look, I certainly do have a treat for you today. No, it's not pie, nor is it turkey. But just like Christmas, you can't open your gift until Christmas Day. But don't shake the gifts. You most definitely could not have shaken or rattled my next guest, who spent 14 years in the NFL, drafted by the Steelers out of Colorado, originally California guy, Pasadena, more explicitly, during a second round straight out of the 1993 NFL Draft, a three-time Pro Bowler, and a 1993 Joe Green Great Performance Award winner. That means a lot. We'll go into that as well. Welcome, Chad Brown, to the Rude Dog Show. Thank you so much, Chad, for taking your time out joining me today. It's a pre-Thanksgiving day, so happy Thanksgiving to you and your family.
Well, thank you for having me on, Rudy. I certainly appreciate it. And hopefully I can be as good as Thanksgiving for some of these listeners.
If they don't bring their own fork and knife, then maybe missing something else, or spoon, because you may want to spoon in on this conversation. But nevertheless, thank you for joining me today. Look, Chad, we look at your career in the NFL, having worn a few uniforms and playing very well throughout your career in the linebacking position for not only the Steelers, Seahawks, but the Patriots as well, and then back to the Patriots and then back to the Steelers. Looking at your career, out of all the uniforms you've donned, do you feel as though there's one particular uniform where your heart lies in, or was it just based on where your familiarity was with any of the three teams you played for?
But they're all so different. They all are, at this point, incredibly successful franchises. The Steelers obviously goes back in the 70s. And to be a part of that organization and to be drafted in there, one of the things they do with draft picks is they bring them into a local hotel and they show a video of all the Steeler greats at their Hall of Fame speeches. So it kind of sets the tone for you as a rookie and to walk into that franchise and letting to be a part of that incredible organization. And what your career path can be once you become a Pittsburgh Steeler. So that kind of set the tone for my time as a Steeler. The tradition, the standard of excellence, the identity of that city to the Steelers to that city. I mean, I can't imagine there are better organizations out there from top to bottom that do things at the high level like the Pittsburgh Steelers do. But then, I go to the Seattle Seahawks, and right as Paul Allen was starting his ownership and kind of propelled them to where they are right now, one of the top franchises in the league, great players and traditional excellence there now in the recent past, and incredible fan base. So to be a Seattle Seahawks was also special. Didn't win as many games as I would have liked. Didn't have the success that I would have liked while I was there. I certainly take a little bit of pride in knowing that we kind of set that franchise up to where it is now. And then towards the end of my career, going and having the chance to play with the New England Patriots, being with Bill Belichick and Tom Brady, guys like that, Mike Redmond, Teddy Bruschi, Jimmy Seau, Willie McGinnis, Vince Wilfork, all types of household names to play there and to learn more about football in my 2 years there, 2.5 years there that I learned in the previous 12 years combined. That was stopped being taught winning football in such a particular way. I know Belichick was an incredible way to kind of finish my career. And to your point, to your question, it would be impossible to pick just one. It literally would be impossible. They all are special franchises. They all are very special in my heart. They all meant something to me at that particular time in my career that I don't think I would have necessarily appreciated if it hadn't been at that particular time. We can't do learn how to play NFL football. To go to the Seahawks and to face this franchise and set them up to where they are now, and it's a pretty chef in New England with such an incredible football education with Bill Belichick, Matt Patricia, those incredible guys that coaching staff. Such a well-rounded experience for me in the last 15 years in the NFL.
I can see where that would take a whole different set of turns, meaning that when you're playing for a variety of teams in the NFL, you pick up a little bit from this team, a little bit from that team, from the relationship building aspects, to just ultimately recognizing your role in that locker room, your role on the field, your role off the field as you still represent the team that you played with. You finish your career with the Patriots, obviously having played for the Steelers for 3 years. You became, at least in the onset, the consummate linebacker, the consummate professional. The 93 draft was filled with tons of great talent. You're obviously a part of that. And that transmitted into being the recipient of the Joe Green Great Performance Winner. Tell everybody listening right now what that means and what that trophy meant to you.
It's essentially the Steeler Rookie of the Year. And to win that award with that guy to be attached to for that organization, it really cap off your list. I suppose you can cap off many of that, people like that. But to win the Joe Green Award for the Steelers, I grew up in the 70s with the Joe Green commercial, and seeing the Steelers win, those scores Super Bowl titles. So I have such a sense of Steeler history. So to be a part of that organization and get to win that trophy with his name, it was very special. And considering that I came through that rookie year with another guy from Colorado doing to pull up the award from the University of Colorado, came out with first and second round picks for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Be on that team with my teammates from Colorado, but also just win that award above him was also a lot of fun as well.
It means a lot to win that award. I mean, Joe Green, such a staple, is jersey retired. Only other person to have their jersey retired for being a Pittsburgh Steeler was Ernie Stautner. So that meant a lot to Joe Green to have his jersey finally retired, obviously in the Hall of Fame prior to that ever happening. Is there a comparison? I know you were talking about how there's another Colorado Buffalo involved in receiving that award, but you certainly set the tone. And I think that within your physicality, within your athleticism as you played for the Steelers, being drafted by the Steelers, I think meant a lot more to who you are as a player exiting college. Nowadays you have a lot of players who don't have the fortitude, meaning that they weren't shown in advance how to be a professional on and off the field. I think it's a lost art. I don't know that a lot of players will find themselves in a negative situation. Of course, Ezekiel Elliott, in that the situation. Johnny Manziel exited college, not in the NFL at this point. There's a lot of, I don't know if it's time, if it's scouting, is it colleges? What do you believe is the missing key to why some athletes exiting college, finding a place in the NFL, don't really last for long, if at all?
If I had the answer to that, I could sell that to 32 NFL teams, probably teams up in Canada as well, because that's really what they want to know. Because they can look at it. They've seen the coaches and scouts for West Country. They spend so much time looking at it, going to games, so the ability to see if a guy can play football, I think it's maybe the easiest part of being a scout because your eyes are pretty clear to tell you, yeah, it's really more difficult if you're trying to take a guy from a lower ranked college or a smaller college and try to extrapolate his play into the NFL. But the guy plays for Ohio State, plays a big schedule. By the time you watch, 6 games a day, you can pretty well tell if this guy has the athletic ability to be a good enough player in the NFL. But to your question, to your point, it's much more than that once you get into the NFL. And I saw it as a player, and I've seen it now in the last 3 years. I've been a coaching intern in the NFL. 2 years ago, I was with the Seattle Seahawks, intern defensive line coach. Last year, I was with the Tennessee Titans as a linebacker coach. And this past season, this past training camp, I was with the New York Jets. My Pittsburgh Steelers teammate Kevin Green. We were coaching the outside linebackers up there. And, to a man, every place where I coached, outside of maybe somebody who was brought in just to simply be a camp body, everyone in those rooms in Seattle and Tennessee and with the Jets had the ability to play NFL football. But the mental ability to prepare to play from a professional standpoint. There's a lot of guys who play pro football. There's not as many professionals who play football. So the professional guy who prepares to play physically, mentally, emotionally, does the right thing once he's in that facility, once he leaves that facility, does the right things off the field, and hopefully becomes a good member of the community that gives things, that does things for the community overall. That's a much rarer and much more difficult person to find. So that's what NFL teams are trying to do when they do interviews with your high school coaches, your college coaches, and talk to your teammates and talk to all your position coaches. They're trying to figure out, do you have the mental toughness? Do you have the mental perspective? Do you have the emotional wherewithal to be an NFL football player and succeed, particularly if they're going to invest a first or second round pick into you, because that means they're expecting you not just to be on the team, but they're expecting you to be a starter for this team and be a starter for a number of years. And to do that in the NFL at that level, you need more than just physical ability. You get the mental toughness, the emotional maturity, the proper perspective for all those things to happen.
And I think that that's something that's really missing nowadays. Why? Because a lot of kids will come into their collegiate system and they think because they're great at football, they really can slack off on the academic standard, which is completely not true. It's false. And anybody out there, especially any of the guys that I've had the pleasure of interviewing that are now in the NFL, can attest to that. They can really attest to that and say, you know what? I played at Division II. I'm playing at the highest level possible. I want to stay here, but the way that you can do that is through your play, through your attitude, through your actions. We are who we say we are. And I don't know if you ever heard that, Chad, but it's true. Me and you are only separated by 3 years. You were talking about working with Kevin Green, of course, Sackmaster, who played with a variety of teams, obviously, notably, the Steelers. He brought a certain ferocity to that Steelers defense. And you brought very similar passion to Steelers defenses as well. Let's go back to Super Bowl 30, probably not a favorite topic for a lot of players, including a gentleman I had the pleasure of interviewing earlier this year in Levon Kirkland. You know Levon very well. You guys played together, and obviously had played in Tempe, Arizona, right alongside Levon Kirkland. Coach Cowher was a very instrumental coach. When I say instrumental, I don't mean he played a flute on the sideline. What he did was he added a certain fervor to the players that he coached. He was a player's coach. I think that's one of the lost derivatives of what an actual coach is supposed to be, which is a player's coach. That doesn't mean you allow your players to do whatever they want to do. What that means is that you are there to keep them in line, to help accommodate them in any way that they can. Give them the input and something that resonates throughout their time as a player. Now, Coach Cowher only coached for the Steelers for a very long time. What was it like having played for an eventual Hall of Fame coach in Bill Cowher?
I had the fortune of playing for Bill Cowher, Mike Holmgren, and Bill Belichick, all Super Bowl winning coaches. And each of those guys brought something different to the table. talk about power, a player's coach, that could be, applied so many different ways. And, in this circumstance, it certainly didn't mean that Bill Cowher was soft and let the players get away with anything. But I think he understood much more than the X's and O's, much more than, the scheme of things. If you go out and play the game with more passion, harder, hungrier than your opponent, you're going to find a way to win the game. So he was always trying to be in tune with the players emotionally, so we could go out and just play so hard. It's one of the reasons why, the Steelers formula is usually having younger players, because younger players can simply go out there and play harder than you can when you're 12, 13, 14, or 15. So, they're having guys who've lasted a while in the organization, guys like Troy Palmer, Casey Hampton, and James Ferris. There have been some older guys right now this season. James Harrison still on the roster, I think, at 40 years old. But for the most part, they like to go for guys. They want to win the game by hitting people in the mouth first, by being aggressive, by overwhelming your opponent with how hard you play. So Bill Cowher, being a player's coach, trying to recognize that's how it was best for the Steelers to win games. He's always trying to get us on an emotional edge for a game. And so his speeches throughout the week always kind of emotionally culminated on that last speech before we went out on the game, whether it be a Sunday or Sunday night or Monday night. But he built them up throughout the week. So Monday's speech built into Wednesday's speech, which built into Thursday's, which built into Friday's. By the time Saturday came around, he would kind of do take all those notes from the week and kind of put them together. And by the time Saturday came around, he believed, yes, our offense is going to run the ball down their throat. Defensively, we are going to get after the quarterback on third down. So whatever the theme was during the week, he emotionally built you up to believing that on Saturday during that speech, and going out and achieving that on Sunday. So it was a fantastic treat to play for a guy who really understood the emotions of football, the passion of football, and how you have to bring that to beat your opponent. That was that Steelers style of play. It's overwhelm people with how hard we play, and at some point they just need to quit.
He had preached a lot about heart and how he played with heart. I heard Ben Roethlisberger in many huddles say, you know what, bring your best, bring your heart. And I remember that explicitly when the Steelers went on to beat the Denver Broncos at Mile High Stadium during that 05 run to Super Bowl 40. When we talk about your experience in the Super Bowl, and of course, despite the loss and playing catch-up from the onset of that game, unfortunately, it was almost out of reach as the Dallas Cowboys scored 10 points in that first quarter. But heading into the second quarter, offensively, your team found a way to score when O'Donnell threw a 6-yard pass to Yancey Thigpen, which I'm sure you know very well. 14:47 left in the second quarter. Offense relied on the defense as the defense relies on the offense, and the production on both sides of the ball. Did you feel as though there was a momentum shift when your team decided to score in the second half, making this only a 3-point game? And did you believe that the defensive pressure existed, forcing Troy Aikman to possibly turn it over?
Well, we built some momentum that we scored right before half. And then as the second half was long, we got an onside kick. And Coach Cowher had a risky call to throw out there and get the outside kick. And outside of one big run by Emmett and one deep pass to Deion Sanders in the first quarter, we had essentially shut them down offensively. So the game was clearly, within reach for us. I wouldn't say we had grabbed the momentum, but we were gaining momentum, particularly after the onside kick. Unfortunately for us, he held that moment. Through, two very unforced interceptions. I think one being his fault, and one being a miscommunication between he and the receiver. That's what happens in those big games, where there's some moments the moment of the game can be too big and can get them to play differently than where they would normally play. It's unfortunate. It's still seen to this day. Whenever NFL Network, that week before the Super Bowl, when they show all the old Super Bowls, at some point I ended up catching that game, and I can't help but sit down and watch it. I still expect us to find a way to win, and we never do. Neil still throws those 2 interceptions. In the end, that was the difference in the game. To your point, they got to look to early lead. They perhaps were a little bit more big game ready than they were early in that game in the first quarter. But we certainly settled down and gave them a heck of a fight until the fourth quarter with those interceptions.
Yeah, and I'd watched that game. I remember watching it on TV as it unfolded. You had a pretty good game. I believe that the momentum from the onset was really captured by the Cowboys. They had a lot of fans there, and I don't know necessarily that the team was ready. And more explicitly, and I'm not going to throw Neil O'Donnell under the bus because everybody makes mistakes. Everybody has a bad game. I've heard that time and time again. Do you believe Neil O'Donnell was ready for that stage?
I don't think he was. We had kind of shifted offensively from a power-based running team with Van Morris and John L. Williams being the fullback to a little bit more 5 wide receivers. And that kind of propelled us into the playoffs. In the end, I don't think that, fit the personality of our team and of our quarterback. And so it exposed us to something that, eventually came up in the Super Bowl where, certain quarterbacks are built to sling the ball all around the yard. Other quarterbacks are built to, occasionally pass on 3rd down, be the manager of the game. We certainly saw Neil more in that role than a, run and shoot kind of guy, which is in some ways we had become that going with some of this 5 wide receivers. I don't think he was. I don't sit here and curse the name of Neil O'Donnell. We got there because of him throwing the ball in that 5 wide receiver set. He certainly won some games for us where defensively, we didn't have our best games. We got the offense going, got the point. So you win as a team, you lose as a team. It's certainly easy when you look at that game to points for 10 receptions, but there were certain points in the game, particularly early, where we were not, as a defense, matching what the Cowboys blocked. So what I'm saying is just, you figure at somebody, your thumb's pointed back at you. So I don't want to get to a blame game here at all. We got there as a team. Unfortunately, we lost as a team. That's one of those runs that still hurts.
Yeah, the Von Kirkland also having a little bit of a. I wish we had have gotten there. You were there, but didn't quite get over. It's in all fairness, when you look back at other NFL teams, Buffalo Bills going there 4 times, coming up with nothing but goose eggs every single time. And even Dan Marino couldn't lead his team. Another Pittsburgh guy couldn't lead his team to victory and leaving that field without a Super Bowl ring. And there are thousands of other players that have gone through the same exact thing, coming up empty-handed. Do you feel as though there's a vacancy left by not winning on that fateful day? And did you ever believe there'd be another chance for you to get back to the big dance?
I was lucky enough to have won 32 games in a row in high school, that championship. I went to the University of Colorado. We won the first national championship for the Colorado Buffaloes while I was there. So I enjoy winning. I expect to win. I won in Pop Warner. I was hunting flag football. So to go to that Pittsburgh Steelers team and to be there for 4 years, the first 4 years of my career, and win all those division titles, and then get up to the Super Bowl in my 3rd year, I'm expecting to win that game. And I'm still crushed. It still hurts. It still stings. Do I look back at it as at my career as a waste or as I'm missing something? Not as a waste, certainly not. As I'm missing something, a little bit, yeah. I think the ultimate measure of a team and of a championship player is to win championships and somehow help your team get there. So for that 95 Steelers team that lost, that still stings. The 2007 Patriots team that lost to the Giants, and we were undefeated in that season, they're moving to the Giants Super Bowl. That still stings. I wanted to be on a Super Bowl team. But at the same time, I have no regrets about my career. I chased and pursued that ring with everything that I had inside of me. The individual awards were certainly fantastic. The Joe Green Award, the Pro Bowls, the team MVPs, all that stuff was fantastic. But really, ultimately, you want to have a Super Bowl ring. You don't want a Pro Bowl watch. You want a Super Bowl ring. And to be missing that, it still hurts. And I think that's one of the reasons why I'm interested in coaching more than just helping players, a chance to be a part of a Super Bowl when it came out.
Yeah, definitely accurate about that statement. I had interviewed Rod Woodson, Rod Woodson very well from the beginning of this year for the Oakland Raiders. Of course, Oakland going a little bit backwards in their standings in the AFC West. I think an overall AFC picture not doing very well. A lot of incompletions and defensive play against the Patriots. I mean, they are the Patriots. You got to find a way to beat the Patriots. Everybody trying to find a way to beat the Patriots. Of course, Steelers always go there and lose, whether it's at home or whether they travel to New England. But during the 96 season, you moved to the outside linebacker position because Greg Lloyd was injured and lost for the remainder of the season. But you found yourself heading to your very first Pro Bowl. You're talking about your Pro Bowl watch, not that big of a deal outside of having other accolades and 2 other Pro Bowls that would come thereafter. But needless to say, those are some pretty big shoes to fill. I mean, literally. But you were familiar with him and familiar with his moves. Having your name called to be the next man up and having not been familiar with the outside linebacker position, was this something you were easily able to adapt to? And was that role something that you endeared in that season?
Well, growing up, I played so many different positions. I've always thought of myself as a football player, not just, linebacker or defensive end. I've always thought of myself as a football player. So in high school, I played offensive line. I played every position on the field except for quarterback. And our quarterback was going to be ruled out academically for the playoffs that my senior season. So the coaches were planning on switching me to quarterback. So, the position flexibility has always been a huge part of me. No matter what you need, let's get Chad to give it a shot, and he'll go out there and do it. So at the University of Colorado, my first year I was recruited to play outside linebacker. It became clear that Alfred Williams and Canavis McGee were pretty special players at that position. Alfred Williams ended up winning the Buckets Award as an outside linebacker for Colorado Buffaloes. Wilkie Canavis was drafted the first 2 rounds in the NFL draft. So they moved me to inside linebacker. And, the same attitude there. Hey, I don't get to rush the quarterback, that's fine. I don't get to run around and make lots of tackles. So that's why I played inside linebacker for my first 2 years playing at the University of Colorado. Those guys I mentioned a second ago, Alfred Williams and Canavis McGee, they moved on to the NFL, and I moved to outside linebacker. So that position flexibility was always part of what I did. Now, even my first 3 years in Pittsburgh, before I moved to outside linebacker full time, I was an inside linebacker on first and second down. Then on third down, I went to play the pass rush spot, and Greg Lloyd moved to inside linebacker. So both of us had quite a bit of carryover with our responsibilities before Greg was hurt. So Greg was hurt that opening game. Unfortunately, carries me against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Literally, I go to the sideline. Bill Cowher says you're playing outside linebacker. When I ended up playing outside linebacker for the rest of that season, it took a couple of weeks to get myself rolling. But I certainly, had Greg there, who was rehabbing at the time of the injury. I actually had to watch Greg for a couple of years and do what it took to play that position. It was comfortable because of my experience at the University of Colorado. And then got to the groove as the season went along. And I thought really developed myself into not just a guy who's a pass rusher, the guy who could play the entire outside linebacker position, set the edge in one game, cover tight end, rush the quarterback. Got pretty comfortable there. And it was very tough to leave after that 4th year and move on to a different team. And I knew if I had continued to play that outside linebacker position, it could have been, a guy who made Pro Bowls every single year.
Yeah, no, you were very effective in the outside linebacker role, taking over for Greg Lloyd. Let's fast forward. 2017, the Steelers are 8-2. They go on the road. They go to Lambeau. No, excuse me. They're at home against Lambeau. They're playing against Green Bay Packers. Missing quarterback Aaron Rodgers. Brett Hundley takes over. Not to be as effective. Not enough fluidity. I think without Brett in there, you really don't have another quarterback to lean on. Of course, Aaron Rodgers out for the season. Big question as to whether or not he will stay. in Green Bay as a Packer. But when you look at this Steelers defense, I know you have your eye on a few guys. What stands out to you most about this Steelers defense? Is it the outside linebacker play? Is it the interior play with Cam Hayward? Is it the cornerback play with now Cody Sensabaugh taking position over Joe Hayden due to a season-ending injury? What particular player stands out to you in this Steelers defense right now this year?
Well, there's a couple of key components to playing that style of defense. You do need style play up front. You know, the defense is really based around those linebackers. It's hard to play linebacker if your defensive tackle or your nose guard or your defensive end constantly being pushed into you as the inside linebacker, so it's just possible. So they really need a couple of dynamic players up front and capable of serving that guy. Now, the pass rush has been lacking over the last couple of years. This year or so, getting back to that, T.J. Watt's a big part of that. I had a chance to call some of his games at the University of Wisconsin. When the Steelers drafted him on the opening day of the draft, I knew that was going to be a perfect fit for him and for them. So there's kind of a resurgence of the outside linebacker position there. And Pittsburgh is nice to see that come back. And then you do need some corners who can, deal with the man-to-man coverage, particularly if you want to go with a lot of the blitz games. Now, people Steelers are certainly known for their zone blitz games. The cornerbacks aren't man coverage. But they also do run a number of man blitzes as well. So you need corners who have that flexibility to play man and zone to unleash those linebackers if you're going after quarterback. So the improvement in the secondary play has allowed, the defense coordinator to call more blitzes, and then you have a scout, guy up front, that front three that allows the inside linebackers to fill the lanes, particularly a guy like Shea Beer in the run game. So it's all starting to come together for them. We finally have gotten the pieces that they need to fully execute that.
And I think they're on pace to doing that much more, and especially against the Green Bay offensive line that is battered up. They're missing Bakhtiari for the rest of the year. Offensive line play has not been as well written. Why? Because they don't have Aaron Rodgers, who has the ultimate escapability to get out of the pocket, make things happen. Similar to that of Russell Wilson. Those two guys remind me almost a mirror of one another based on what they do in quarterback play, whether it's a bootleg or if it's something that just broke down up front, able to really get out of it and make a difference. The Packers don't have that. They barely have the defense as is with Matthews up front. Mike Daniels has been one of those strongest points on that defensive line for the Packers. Do you see the way the Steelers are playing right now at 8-2, currently first in the AFC and a first-round bye, potentially, barring any losses, of course, and other, teams winning, not only in the AFC North, but the AFC overall? Do you see the Steelers winning this game against Green Bay? And if so, is it just based on the defense from what you've seen up to this point?
Yeah, Green Bay just doesn't have enough offense. Brett Hundley's not very comfortable back there. You put him against the Steelers defense, which is gaining confidence, just playing better and better as the season goes along. I just can't see how Green Bay can possibly score enough points. The connection between Ben Roethlisberger and his receivers now, particularly Antonio Brown. Antonio is clearly the best receiver in the NFL. Out of the 16 games they played in the regular season, I have to imagine he's going to be the best player on the field. At least 13 or 14 of those games was just that good. When you have a weapon like that, it opens everything else up for you. The Packers defense is not playing at a high level. The offense is struggling better than Rodgers. I think it was a fairly easy game for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Not that games are ever easy in the NFL, because they still got good players on both sides of the ball. Another big quarterback issue.
I do as well. I look at Ben Roethlisberger, and I know it's old news, and most people don't want to talk about it. They want to have a discussion about it. It's old. It's almost forgotten. But Ben Roethlisberger said something in the media on a post-game against that 5-interception attempt at scoring something other than giving the other team the ball. There's certainly something to be said for any quarterback or any position player to come back to say, maybe I don't have it anymore. Was it purely just taken out of context, or is there something more to that message, in your opinion?
as a player, when you get older, it becomes a year-to-year proposition. And the emotional swings that you go through as you get older can go not just from year to year, but from game to game. You know you can't play forever, and you're trying to make a deal with Father Time. Let me get to this season so I can play one more year, kind of thing. And I think, Ben has discussed the last 2 years and the offseason about this 3-year process. And perhaps a little too honest with the media for a lot of fans come. I understand where the fans are coming from. You want your players to be fully committed. I understand where the organizations are coming from. You can't go forward with a quarterback that's wishy-washy. But I also understand where Ben is coming from. If this game is incredibly difficult, it's risky. I've made over $100 million in my career. I've got a wife and kids at home. It's difficult to balance all that out. And not just 23 years old, thinking you're a Superman, nothing can stop you. You've been banged up enough, seeing teammates who, can no longer play the game and all that stuff. So there is all that realization that comes as you get older. So I think it's more a reflection of that and the 5 interceptions than a reflection of Ben's heart for Pittsburgh Steelers, Ben's heart for this game. Just, he's probably oversharing and been a little too honest. But I think every player, as you get older, particularly after a bad game, looks in the mirror and wonders, do I still have it? Can I still go out there and get it done? It's fascinating that as a rookie, your confidence is easily shaken. And you become a player, and in Ben's case, you become a Pro Bowler and an All-Pro. And in my case, I went through that as well. And toward the end of my career, playing a much lesser role and making mistakes that I didn't used to make and top of consistently making. Yeah, you go home after a game, you look in the mirror, and you're full of doubt. And it hurts. It stings. It's difficult to, deal with that. I didn't share it publicly. Ben did, but I certainly have been in that situation and felt those feelings. So, I give Ben a little bit of a grace pass with this. And just say, sometimes we always can't be football players. Sometimes we're just human. We have to let go doubts and insecurities.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. It goes beyond recognizing that you still have athletic capability, but you have to really ask yourself, is 5 interceptions where I need to be? The answer to that obviously is no. I think other players who, Ike Taylor, same thing, another Steeler, cornerback, found his way saying, you know what, coach, I just don't have it anymore. Maybe I just need to be done with this. And he did. He retired, and that's exactly what happened. He moved on. He now works for NFL Network. I want to throw something out there at you before I let you go. Right now, the NCAA is, and certain teams, Florida and some other teams, are looking for a coach. They need a coach. Would you consider throwing your hat in the ring for any of those vacancies? And if so, which team that you are aware of do you believe you would take?
Well, let me start off by saying I'm not prepared to be a head coach at the college level. I certainly have the interest in coaching, and I think if you're going to coach, actually you want to move up the ladder to become a head coach. But as we speak on this phone right now, I'm just simply not prepared to deal with all the, mind-blowing number of responsibilities each of those head coaches has. Obviously, you want to have to coach the football team, make a decision on the sideline on Saturdays, but you got to coach the coaches during the week. You got to coach the team. You got to set the emotional standard of the team. You got to set the college environment, set how they're going to conduct themselves in the classroom, community, all that kind of stuff. You're dealing with kids from all across the country. If you're at a place like Florida or like a UCLA team, prominent job openings right now. You have to deal with the alumni. You have to deal with the athletic director. You have to deal with the media every single day. It's such an amazingly complicated job. I think it feels almost laughable to me to think that I could possibly handle that where I am in my coaching life. I've done some coaching internships, but I think to get in with a good program as a position coach, maybe eventually the company wants to put in to give me the type of experience I would need to even possibly think about being a head coach. I spent a lot of time with Jim Mora, the former UCLA coach. This offseason, he and I, as part of a charity group, we climbed Mount Kilimanjaro in Africa together. So, over the course of time, we're not spent a lot of time talking about football or maybe with coaches. He pretty well laid it out for me today. I got a chance to spend 4 or 5 days with him out there at UCLA during spring ball. And again, it's such an incredibly complicated job that they're asked to do. My hat's off to all those guys, whether they have success on the field or off the field, because they are taking on something that's not just a 9 to 5, 6 in the morning until 10 o'clock at night. It's a constant grind. The number of people you are responsible for is just mind-blowing. Like I said, I'm not ready for that.
Well, at least you admit it. You gotta know where to start from. And right now with those vacancies, I actually had a chance to meet Jim Mora prior to the Pac-12 season starting. I can't believe it was only July, and here we are in November, and it's adios to a lot of these coaches in the NCAA. Maybe at some point, Chad, with the experience and gaining the ground, maybe that could change depending on your familiarity and your willingness to go to the next level to be a head coach for any given NCAA football team. So I want to let everybody know there will not be a show tomorrow. I'll be too busy stuffing my mouth with turkey and stuffing. So there will be no show. But stay tuned tonight for NFL Blitz right here on barnburner.ca. Go to iCoast Media for all your website needs. Chad, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for taking your time out. I certainly appreciate it. And if the Steelers go to the Super Bowl, I'm going to do my best to be there. Will you be there?
I'm at the Super Bowl every year doing all my media obligations. So, yeah, you can go Super Bowl.
Well, I may see you there then.
Sounds good.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, Chad Brown. This guy has played for the Steelers, the Seahawks, the Patriots, back to the Steelers, Patriots. But ultimately, what really makes Chad who he is that he's an exceptional person, father, brother, uncle, dad, son, and everything else in addition to doing his own announcing for the Colorado Buffalo team. Chad, thank you so much. And I look forward to maybe seeing you in Minnesota.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on. Look forward to seeing you guys.
Sounds great. Thank you so much, Chad. Take care, and happy Thanksgiving to you, by the way, just in case I didn't mention it. We'll talk soon. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Chad Brown right here on the Rude Dog Show. I wanted to thank him for his time and his ability to just come on to the show prior to Thanksgiving. I know he's probably traveling or about to travel, and if you're in Los Angeles, forget traveling. You will be stuck on the road for quite some time. This is Rudy Reyes on barnburner.ca. Make sure you go to the RudeDogShow.com. Throw me a follow at Rude Dog Reyes on Twitter. And I will see you guys next week again. Stay tuned tonight for the NFL Blitz, previewing all the games going on tomorrow right here on barnburner.ca. You take care. Thank you for tuning in. Have a happy Thanksgiving.